The Biden administration is close to signing a security deal with TikTok in an attempt to spare banning the app in the United States.
But despite that, national security officials say millions of American users, their information, it remains at risk. This has had the popular social media app, TikTok we're talking about, under the microscope since 2019. They're worried that Chinese actors will expose user information for hacking and espionage purposes. That would be the motive.
For more, let's bring in Josh School. He's the founder and president of national security firm Bowwave. He's also the former executive assistant director for intelligence with the FBI. Josh, welcome. Thanks very much for being with us. If you could explain to us, first of all, what is in this security agreement the Biden administration is working on? But also, I wonder if you could just clarify, when we talk about Chinese actors, we're talking about government actors here. Is that correct? Or at least entities perhaps connected in some way with the Chinese government?
Yes, thank you. Let's start with the latter. We are talking about the Chinese government, but to understand how the laws of China work, you have to look at what they have published. And the Chinese national security laws compel all of its citizens to comply with national security. That means that they're obligated to comply. And it also articulates in their law that service providers must comply with the state. It does not state in there, like we have, that you have to comply with a search warrant or a judge or anything like that. It means that they must turn over the data. So for the Biden administration and what they are trying to work through, as I can, from what I can glean, is whether or not TikTok can actually be segregated from its parent company, ByteDance. And right now, they're in negotiations with the Department of Justice and a host of others with Oracle. And that would mean that all of the U.S. user data would remain, well, from what I could see, in Texas versus Singapore and Virginia. That will only work if ByteDance does not have the ability to siphon data from Oracle. And right now, I don't think that has been proven to be true.
Wow. It's quite a situation that we're dealing with here. TikTok has said that they intend to satisfy all reasonable national security concerns. Why do, and I think you just touched on this, and it's important, and so I think it's worth reiterating, why are people still concerned that this data could still be tapped, including up to the point where the TikTok is completely separated from its Chinese founding and controlling company? I mean, sold off, not just sort of siloed.
Yeah, Tony, I think it's important, again, to go back to what does Chinese law obligate its parent company, ByteDance? It obligates that company to comply with the Chinese government. So if there are children, everything from children to political officials, to think of anybody that could potentially be extorted, recruited, the Chinese government does a great job playing a long-term game. So while it may not be important for a 15-year-old person right now, when they're a 30-year-old congresswoman or congressman, it does become important. They know everything about you. So that's one aspect of it. You can't forget that they're also aggregating information from other breaches. All of this is available to the Chinese government to recruit, extort, or use in any way beneficial to the country of China.
I remember having this kind of conversation years ago when TikTok was first sort of coming onto the scene and learning about ByteDance. ByteDance, is that the correct? Yes. But learning about essentially the connection here to the Chinese government. And at the time, it wasn't quite clear. And now we're having this conversation as this sort of evolution has taken place where much more data is being essentially hoovered up, right, into this system. You mentioned this, but who is at greatest risk of being exposed? I mean, are there people in the United States that the government is particularly worried about? Because as we've seen, TikTok really has become this behemoth.
It really has become a behemoth. And I think the way you need to think about it is anybody that doesn't want their data in the hands of the Chinese government should not provide an easy access to the Chinese government. And it's really hard to get that for folks to understand, like, why would they care about me, or why would they care about this aspect of my family? They may not, And then again, they may not until a certain point. And so that really, and it's hard for a lot of folks to comprehend that. But so much data is put forth on social media, specifically TikTok, that they get to know your likes, your dislikes, what you're watching. And then that algorithm also gets to push information to you, which may be to the benefit of the Chinese government, therefore influencing how you think about issues.
Josh, is location data part of this?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if location data is on. It would make sense. I know there's locational data that users can shut off, but really it's not understanding what the goals of the Chinese government are, and that is to create a security state, not just in China, but to be able to target folks globally using a host of mechanisms.
And
it is scary. It's scary for us.
It is.
So much to think about. Really,
thank you very much. All right, Josh School, thank you very much.
Thank you.